This is Unreal Tips from an Unreal player, and I'm going to tell you the best way to rank up, the most efficient way to rank up, no matter what rank you are. If you're really trying to get better at the game, especially zero builds, hit me with a follow. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment if you have a question on any of the videos that I have. I try to get to all of them. TikTok, it makes it a little bit harder, but if you're on YouTube, most likely I will get back to it because I can sort the comments by anything I haven't answered yet. This video is going to ultimately be broken down into two main categories in order to rank up. That's going to be placement and kills, because those are the two things that you need in order to rank up. For the first one, we're going to talk about things like getting the zone, making sure you're in a good position and not chasing through storm and taking free damage and then possibly running up onto a teammate or running up onto an enemy team and just getting annihilated and not being able to get that high placement that you need for points. The second one, we're going to talk about aim, movement, mechanics in general in order to maximize getting your kills and then positioning in fights. Diving right into it, let's talk about zone for placement. You're going to want to figure out where the zone is at early on in the game, because if it's very, very far away from you, you're going to want to rotate earlier. If it's on top of you, you don't really have to move much and you can stay where you're at if you want. But make sure you're grabbing stuff like bounty boards so you kind of can tell where enemies are at. You might even want to drop by one of the radar tower spawns, because if you get that, then knowing the future zone movements is going to be a huge advantage late game. And not only that, it'll help you with rotations, because if it's touching on one side of the map, you might stay out in zone for a little bit and take some storm damage in order to rotate safely into where you want to be. And if you're tanking storm, knowing where these mending machines are is really huge. And then also knowing where vehicles are in case you're really far out in storm to get there faster and safer is also another thing to do. And you can find these locations by going to the website fortnite.gg, and then they have a side panel that you could toggle these things off and on to learn where each thing is. If you're planning on tanking storm or have to, here's a graph that will show you how much each storm ticks for. But with medkits, you can out heal storm 6 or below pretty easily. I slightly touched on avoiding damage, but essentially getting things like cars or movement or even taking rifts so you can get into zone without taking much damage from any other players that might be camping you out are just really good ways to do so. But the other thing that I want to talk about is there are times where you'll see fights and it might seem like you need to take the fight, but a lot of times you can just rotate around, maybe find some medkits, or if you have medkits or any other kind of medical heals to get your green bar back up. You can just avoid it, walk around, and then get to a better placement. Because a lot of times when you're coming into zone 2, the zone is going to keep pulling away from you. And if you take that fight, you're just going to constantly be fighting against zone and taking storm damage. And you don't want to do that. And even though I have this into the next category for getting eliminations, it also comes into play for placement. But getting good positioning, like getting height and keeping height as long as possible, getting the highest point in the new zone or the end game zones is going to give you a huge advantage over your enemies. Now, kicking off the elimination category, we're going to talk about aim. If you're not practicing your aim, or if your aim is not dialed in, you do need to be jumping into any of the practice maps that are provided. I mean, Xillix has a practice map. I like to use a practice map called AI Practice. There's also other maps that you could use, like pits, like zero build pit maps, and those will help with your aim quite a bit. The aim training maps provide a lot of repetition, so it's the best way to learn a new sense or learn your sense or just dial anything in, keep moving things around until it feels comfortable, and then get you really used to it. I like swapping between ADS and hipfire, so I know that those are dialed in where they need to be, but I use an assortment of guns to get the good feel for it. I'm going to put positioning and movement together as the last categories, because these can be practiced on maps like the zero build pit. You're going to practice using movement items to get height, to reposition yourself if you're getting shot at. You're going to do things like practice getting right hand peeks and keeping them. That way you have a bigger advantage in fights. I hope one day maybe they'll switch it to where you could change your over the shoulder camera angle to the other side, but for now it's just really smart to keep right hand peeks. This zero build map has things like shockwaves and the grappler. The grapple blade and some of the new guns just aren't quite out yet, so you can't use those at the time of me making this video, but hopefully those come out soon too and you can get better practice. But either way, this is just really good practice. If this video helped you guys out, please consider leaving a like, following me. or leaving a comment down below if you have a question that you think I can answer. If I can't answer it, I will try to find the answer for you if I have the time. Otherwise, maybe somebody else will be able to answer it down below too. If you'd like to help me out by using my creator code, it's just Xillix. I'm hoping you guys find this stuff useful, and I'll keep pumping out these videos. Thank you a lot. Have fun and frag out.